Mobile games have always been a part of society, whether it is advertisements that are famous for being extremely, terrible, or pioneer mobile games, ones like Temple Run, or, dare I say it, Subway Surfers. Today's video will be all about endless runners, especially the ones that have no longer held their place in society, as well as one lesser known one that I don't actually think I've ever heard anyone talk about. So the one on screen right now is Sonic Dash. It's also the one in the thumbnail. What made Sonic Dash such a special game was the IP, because it would make sense for Sonic to be an endless runner game. Another part of it was the customization. You could play as all your favourite characters. And Knuckles. Just kidding, everyone loves Knuckles. But what made Sonic Dash so different from the others was its playable features. For instance, you could attack enemies, you could do boss fights, you could do stuff to get extra points. Sorry, my voice is going a bit, in case that's why I sound a bit different today. This will be taking the place of today's live stream. So Sonic Dash, it was originally massive. It was one of the biggest endless runners out there. But now, it is no longer even known. If you ask someone, oh, did you ever play Sonic Dash? They'll probably say, what's Sonic Dash? Whereas if you asked them 3 or 4 years ago, they would have said, oh, I love Sonic Dash, I play it every day. That's the same with all endless runners, except for Subway Surfers and Temple Run. Temple Run will not be appearing on today's list, seeing as it is still an amazing game, and it's too good to talk about. So Sonic Dash has changed because of its focus on microtransactions. The microtransactions in the game have changed it from a fun, enjoyable game to one where you basically got to pay to play. I don't like these formats, so therefore it is bad. I know that basically everyone hates pay-to-play games as well. And this is what makes Sonic Dash such a tragic case. It was a game that had potential that ended up awfully. It did not end well. It was a bad game. It was doomed from the start. Because companies like Sega, they always want to keep pumping out more money. Same with Nintendo, who never actually properly did the endless runner. Can't say I blame them. But that is the sad case of Sonic Dash, a game ruined by greed. The next game was never a great game. Minion Rush, I think it's called, or Minion Run, is a game that exists. It is somehow more insultingly easy than Sonic Dash. This is due to its mission-based format, which changes how the game works. The mission-based format is never as good for an endless runner, because the whole point of it is you run endlessly. But when you add an objective, it just makes it less fun. It makes it less fun to try and get new high scores. You can beat your friend at the game. It just removes all of the fun. Also, mobile game ads are another huge contender for why the games have stopped. The one that you just saw on screen just played after the end of every single level, which removes all of the fun. It's almost like a punishment. You finish the mission, you get punished. You fail the mission, you get punished. There is no other way. This is why Sonic Dash has been more fondly remembered. It had less ads. But the case of Minion Rush is each character has a point to them. each character has different ability. If you have multiple characters with that ability, then it just removes the point of it. But unlike the case of Sonic Dash, you cannot get any favourite characters. The only favourite character in this I could find is King Bob, who is still the greatest character ever made. And I still firmly believe that the Minions movie was actually good. But why is this game not as good? Because everything's there. As I said in the last video, as I said previously, it's so easy. There's no point in even playing it if you're just going to be swarmed by the easiness of the game. Everything about it screams easier. From the mission-based formats to the fact that you don't actually speed up. All the different areas fail as well. With that, I say we move on to the next one. Brim is a game made by the creators of Subway Surfers that is just Subway Surfers mixed with Sonic Dash. What made Brim so different, and in my opinion better than Subway Surfers or Sonic Dash, is that it has a story, and while it does sort of have missions, the missions aren't short. It is an endless runner, yes, but it's not the endless runner, in quotations, that Minion Rush is. No, this one is more similar to Subway Surfers, even sharing most of the same sound design, from the coins to the game over. But this one, you play as a character trying to stop Dark Lord, I think, and you fight enemies along the way. And you have lives, which I feel like is another interesting way to play the game. What makes Brim so much better than Subway Surfers is it is, in my opinion, much more challenging. Because you have to try and attack enemies who can attack you from other lanes. Everything about Brim is just much more challenging, from the fact that there are objectives they have to complete in order to advance to the next world, to the fact that there are enemies. This, I think, makes Brim a more interesting game that more people should know about, because Brim is actually a good endless runner. And if you're a fan of Subway Surfers, I would say play it. The reason that I'm putting it in this video is because no one knows about it, despite the fact that it is made by the creators of Subway Surfers, one of the biggest endless runner games out there. So this is going to be a shorter entry because, well, it's not a bad game. It's not filled with microtransactions like the others. It has them, yes, but they are less prominent. So with that, I move on to what I believe is the final entry in the video. Subway Surfers is perhaps the biggest endless runner game of all time. Everyone knows about it. Even if you ask someone that was born yesterday, they'll most likely say, yes, I have played Subway Surfers, and then you can say, why are you talking? You are a day old. But the point still stands. Everyone and your grandma knows what Subway Surfers is. Subway Surfers is one of those games that will never have been unpopular if it were not for the death of the endless runner. Games like Call of Duty are still massive because that genre has not died yet. It will die out eventually, but some genres last longer than others. The shooter genre has been going for years, maybe decades even. Since games like Wolfenstein and Doom, it has been one of the largest pieces of media out there. The Endless Runner lasted a year, maybe two, because its gameplay loop was just so samey. It's not even a word. But it is just every time you play it, it is the same thing over and over again. It just gets repetitive. But the problem is this isn't a bad game. In fact, I had a fun time playing this game while recording footage for the video. The problem is while it gets extremely challenging very quickly, it's still easy. This is why events are better, but the problem with the events is that they're so often that you just want to go back to the original game. They keep attempting to change everything to make it better, but it will never be as good as it originally was. This is why Subway Surfers is one of the best endless runner games out there, like Temple Run, which is not featuring in the video, as I've said before, because it is still a good game. What makes a good game, though, is its reliance on microtransactions. This game, it just wants you to pay to be able to get more characters. The characters have no difference in gameplay. There are event characters that you have to pay £5 for. Talk about EA. But the problem is all the characters, the event characters, they come back around like every year or so. Like most mobile games, ones like the Battle Cats, which I still love, and I love that game, because it doesn't want you to just pay money. I have gotten some of the best characters in the game, and I have not paid money. I've just spent countless hours playing it and getting daily rewards. But games like, say, Plants vs. Zombies 2, which I mentioned earlier for my live stream, that game is so reliant on you paying that it is essentially saying, oh, you want nostalgia? Pay for it. Which most of us would be happy to do, but the fact that they charge you £5 for a plant that isn't even that useful is just sick. That and the fact that any microtransactions remove adverts also adds an extra layer of temptation. I mean, the least they could do is not give you an ad after everything you do, but they do it anyway. That's EA for you. I was playing Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 for my stream the other day, and I was checking the notifications, the in-game ones, and all of them, except for one, was saying, oh, would you like to buy our things that we're promoting, where you can get stars and rainbow stars? Nope, didn't think so, because EA just wants you to pay. Back to Subway Surfers, though. While it was certainly the longest running, guess it, that's a joke, while it's certainly the longest running game, or franchise even, it just fell off. It was not as fun. Because no longer were you able to bully a friend and say, I've got a higher score than you, I'm better. No, it was now, oh, would you like to go play the new Call of Duty? But then it stopped. That's where the video shall end. What I will say is, I would be very grateful if you subscribed, because I want this video to be quite popular, because I want to be known. I want to be able to to just have an audience. But I believe that I think if we can get this video to maybe even 50 likes, maybe, then I reckon this video will be followed up by a sequel, which will most likely have Temple Run. There we are, you're gonna get Temple Run. You happy? But the reason this video is so much more different to my others is because of just the subject matter. Talking about films, I didn't use footage because I would get copyrighted, or copywritten, or whatever. Talking about games, I can't record footage on my Xbox. But mobile games is different. And that's where I shall leave the video. Goodbye.